Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our special double Game Week 25 preview show. I'm Chris, and with me is the other half of the FPL Cougars team, Kieran. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good tonight. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm just about snowed in, so I'm all cozy, ready to talk FPL for a little bit. And we got little to get through tonight as well. We're going to do a special double Game Week show tonight. We're going to start by recapping the shocker that was Game Week 24 before taking a look at the best assets for that double Game Week, as well as talking about Chelsea's recent performances, their slump in form and how that affects Hazard and Alonso, before rounding up our transfer plans and pointing out some differentials and captaincy options. So we're going to get into it by having a look at, like I say, our poor performances in Game Week 24. Keek, do you want to start off and say what went wrong and what went right?
I don't really want to start off, but yeah, let's talk about this shocker. Not as bad as yours, but still. 39 minus 4, so I took a hit as well, which has ended up with 35 points net, which is obviously below average and not great. Obviously, Jimenez was my hero of the week, which is nice, but I managed to keep Richarlison because of the double, so I wanted to get rid of him, but I kept him, paid dividends a little bit, which was nice, and then Dina's yo-yo form of points just continuing. he was benched, which nobody was really expecting, and then he comes on and gets a red card, which is fantastic. But yeah, 39 points, which was an 18k red arrow to 82k overall. So not ideal, but I don't know. I guess Sane, bringing him in was a failure. Sane and Sterling always seem to do badly for me when I have them, but I bought them in for a hit, just thinking get on the double game week, ship early, and that Newcastle fixture was good on paper, and it just didn't work out. So, but I'm looking okay for next week. I'm happy enough, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's all right. I mean, the flags are popping up in your team there. But yeah, to get through and nearly hit 40 despite that minus 4, I think is although it's below average, it's not terrible. Who is it you brought Sane in for again? Sorry,
Gunnarsson. So,
okay, so big upgrade there.
Yeah, and then I downgraded. Who was it again? I think Trippier to Bednarak. So yeah, because I had money in the bank from the Kane moves.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think you set yourself up quite nicely now for double game week 25, and sort of similar to what my thinking was really. So my one transfer of the week was taking Felipe Anderson out for Sane. So that there was no point difference in that at all. So 2 points for 2 points. I debated for quite a long time about taking a minus 4 for a goalkeeper because it looked like Guaita, I think it's Guaita, was going to be ruled out, and Matt Ryan had come back from the Asian Cup, and it seemed like from what I'd read from Chris Hughton that he was going to get retain his place. So yeah, deliberated over a minus 4 for a goalkeeper the night before the deadline, and then I heard Hodgson say both his keepers were going to be back fit, Hennessy and Guaita, so I rolled the goalkeeper dice, and thankfully it's paid off. You said it was lucky. I think it's pure calculated FPL skill.
I mean, it could have been Hennessy, could have been Speroni still, because he was okay, I suppose, and it could have been that new guy, that Perry guy, but hasn't even entered into the game, and he was signed for, I guess, no reason now. So they've got like 4 keepers on the books. Strange, but yeah, I think you got lucky.
Well, it's lucky in fact that he is actually my third highest scoring player of the game week, and outscored Salah if not for the captaincy. So perhaps I should have captained him, Kieran. That would have been real ballsy. So yeah, 30 points for me, no hit thankfully, and I dropped from, I think it was 36k to about 58 or something like that. So really, really poor, and my team is now brighter than a Christmas tree. All these beautiful colours. Højbjerg's got a head injury. Pogba's probably got some, is it a thigh injury or knee injury or something?
I think it was thigh, yeah.
Yeah, Wilson's knee's exploded, hasn't it? And he's got to go and have, I hate the terminology, he's got to have bits removed or have his knee cleaned up. That sounds
He's
gross.
already had surgery, so...
Yeah, how such a troll, isn't he?
Yeah, saying that he might be able to play or whatever. He wasn't sure, when he fully well knows that he's having surgery the next day. Yeah. Oh, it's just, unbelievable.
It is crazy. And Trent's been on my bench. I'm sort of, I don't really want to take too many hits at the moment because I feel like looking at the team, it's okay. Generally, I think it's just a low scoring game week, isn't it, for a lot of highly owned players? So that's why the average is quite low. And like me, if you didn't have someone like Aubameyang or Jimenez, then you're just gonna have a really, really poor game week. But onwards and upwards. We go again, and we'll get to our plans for the double and how we can turn things around in a minute. But I think before we move on, should I just touch on the FPL Cougars League? And I want to shout out to Arsene Wenger because that is the named manager of the team Wenger's Boys in our FPL's Cougars League. So no idea what his real name is, unless it is the great man himself. But he scored 71 this week, which was fantastic. He got Aubameyang captain. He had Jimenez, Richarlison, Keane, who I want to come on to a little bit later, Kolasinac, and Patricio. So really well done to him, and he's moved up. So I think he's about 60th in our league now. So if you're not part of the FPL Cougars League, the code to join is in the description, and some good competition in there because Shannon is still top. She's now 11th in the world overall. So very good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good, really good. Right then, so we're going to start double game week, the big news of the week, because it got announced while we were recording last time out, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Man City first. So they got 2 matches in 3 days, is it? Sunday and Wednesday? 4 days even. Who are you looking at? How is your brain working? You've got Sane, you've got Sterling, Digne, Richarlison, and Kieran.
Well, for me, I'm not looking at anyone else now. My squad is complete, even though Digne's going to have to be benched. I think the 3 is fine for me. Obviously, Alonso not playing in that game has led me to think I could maybe go to Laporte or something. But, they've kept, I think it was 3 clean sheets in 14 games now for City. And, their fixtures have not been bad at all. With Arsenal and Everton, that's not clean sheets nailed on at all, is it? So,
no.
I think I'm going to keep it as it is for now, Sane and Sterling. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting time to have a double game week for City especially. And I mean, they've got the game against Arsenal, big game, and then they've got this Everton game and the Chelsea game next weekend. So 3 big games in a week. But at the same time, because they play ahead of Liverpool on the Sunday, Liverpool play the Monday night, they've got a really good chance to close the gap to 2 points and then again to 2 points before next weekend, if that makes sense. So the incentive is there for them to have 2 games in such a short space of time. So I think they're going to really be going hell for leather, and they're going to want to bounce back after that disappointing Newcastle result.
Yep.
So I have toyed a little bit with the idea of tripling up on City with a free hit because my team is a bit of a shambles. But I think when it comes down to their best options, I think there's quite a lot actually where they could come back. So Sane and Sterling, I think, goes without saying. Sane came off early, didn't he, against Newcastle? Mm-hmm. Had a little bit of a rest, so I think he's probably good to start both of the games. Sterling is a little bit of a question mark for me, just because he's played 90 minutes in like the last 6 Premier League games. Is he going to play 3 games, 90 minutes in a week? Because I would have thought Pep is going to prioritise that Chelsea game a little bit more over the Everton game. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably. Yep.
So I think that Sterling.
Well, surely he is. He wants to win that trophy, right? So you'd be first choice team for that trophy, surely. Yeah.
But it's three. No, I think it's the Chelsea league game.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
The week after. But I think for the Chelsea game and the Arsenal games especially, he's going to want to playing his full side. So that would make me think Sterling plays in the Arsenal and Chelsea games, but perhaps gets a little bit of rest in the midweek game.
Yeah, it's possible, but I mean, how long is there between that Everton and Chelsea game? Do you know?
I think it's Wednesday and then it's maybe Sunday, off the top of my head.
I mean, it's plenty of time between, isn't it? Really.
But if you think,
it is hard to see Sterling playing all 3 for sure.
Yeah. Well, if you think they also played night before last, so it's 4 games in. Well, it's basically 2 games a week for 2 weeks, isn't it? And I think it's probably why they had such a rest in the League Cup and the FA Cup.
Yeah, so that makes me think that Sane and Sterling, because they had those 2 game rests in the League Cup and FA Cup, that they will play the next 3 at least, and then, or like including that Newcastle game, then they'll play the 2 doubles, is my thought, and then they might have maybe Mahrez come in or whoever else on the other side. Maybe Mendy's back then and Sane gets a rest as well, something like that. But yeah, it's really tough bringing in or choosing any of those at the moment. I guess if you want to go with City, you have to get 2 at least, because I don't think 1 is enough to cover them. Plus, it's Man City in a double game week, and they're a great team. They're chasing for the title. They had 1 blip. They're going to want to get back on it, aren't they? So you've got to kind of go all in or just not at all, I think, in my opinion. Even triple captain is an option, but you've definitely got to captain one of them. It's... What do you think about Edison as well? Because he's apparently picked up a knock, or he's got a cut on his foot or something. Apparently, because he was struggling in the end of that game, and apparently he was going to be taken off, but before the penalty as well. So maybe that was why he didn't get to that ball, because it looked like it was quite
it was low and hard,
easy
though,
save
wasn't
for
it?
him. Yeah, well, yeah, it was, but maybe if he didn't have that gash in his foot or whatever, he might have done a little bit better. So he's a doubt for the Everton game at least. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that defence?
I think the defence is a little bit tricky to warrant investment in, just because like you say, we haven't seen many clean sheets for them recently, and I think the best way you're going to get points out of that defence is attacking returns. I mean, Danilo, who I sort of bigged up on the show a little bit last week as an option, as a budget option at 5-1, I thought he had a terribly poor game against Newcastle.
Yeah, I've got that down here as well. Yeah, he was really poor.
Really, really bad. So, and he got subbed as well for more attacking player late on in the game. I think, so whilst he gives the attacking threat, I'm not sure he's rotation safe, if that makes sense. So I think, like you say, Laporte and Edison are by far the safe picks there if you're on a free hit or a wild card and you're really going for it. But I can't see any attacking returns from Laporte, and I'm not sure if they're going to keep a clean sheet in either of the two games, really, just because, like you say, they've been so leaky. I think it was, let's say leaky generally in terms of clean sheets in the last couple of games since New Year, for sure. I think the player who I'm most interested to think about, I guess, before this weekend is David Silva, because I thought he played almost the best of like the front players in the game up against Newcastle. So he had 3 of City shots on goal, and he got that assist in the first couple of minutes, and it's the 3rd time he's played 90 minutes in the last 10, I think it is. So he's not really very nailed on at the moment, but he's shown that, he's picking up points. And at 8.5, he's a little bit of a differential down at 4.4%. Would you consider him as a 3rd City mid if Pogba gets ruled out?
Not sure. I mean, if you want to go all 3 and you're doing like a free hit or something, you said, then sure, David Silva's possibly an option. But I think KDB is probably more nailed on in that, because he came off early, didn't he? And KDB's just seems to be always, when he's fit, he's nailed on, isn't he? He's played the last 2, I think, or maybe 3 he started now. But yeah, David Silva, you just don't know with him. I think he's just that little bit too risky. And his returns are never as sure as, say, Sane or Sterling. But I mean, that first goal, or the goal for City against Newcastle, like, it was a great header for him. But all of that like goal was made by Sterling, really. Like he dribbled inside, made the really nice cross. So assist for the assist points, please. That'd be great. But yeah, not sure on David Silva. I'd say do it at your own risk, but I think there's better options than him.
Well, I think one thing we can sort of agree on then is there's goals, isn't there, for City in these 2 games. Arsenal haven't kept a clean sheet away all season, so, I mean, can you imagine not being loaded up on City assets going into that game on Sunday, seeing them put a few past City and thinking, oh God, they've got another 90 minutes to do some more damage and I can't get them in my team. So I think it's almost like prepare yourself. And also, I think we love double game weeks in FPL because they are fun. Like, it's going to be, we'll talk more about transfers a bit later, but I'm likely going to be going into that game with 2 or 3 City players. And it's just, knowing that you've got double the chance for them to get points, it's just exciting. And I think that's what FPL's about, really. When take away all the stress of transfers, it's really just watching your favourite players or your picks hopefully do well in some top games.
I mean, if it was like, say, Liverpool or Chelsea or whatever in this double, you'd be like picking Salah and you'd be picking Hazard or whatever, and you'd be fine. You have no worries of rotation, but it's just because it's City that they have such a deep squad that we know that Sterling or Sane or whoever we pick could only play one of those games, and so that's why you've got to get 3 or none or whatever, just so you probably get at least 2 playing 2 games or something. It's a frustration, but it's just something we have to deal with at this point, and I think it's either all in or not at all. Like I said, that's what I've got starting and Sterling. or Stane.
Stane, the new player.
Yeah,
Stane.
Sterling and Sane, I think, hopefully play both, and hopefully finally reward me, because I jumped off Sane a while back to get Pogba when Sterling and Sane were doing nothing for me for ages. And then, I've brought Sane back in for this double, and then they go and do nothing again. But hopefully they can reward my patience. Needs to happen.
I think they will, and plus you'll have a ton of fun watching them both play in these games. Can you just imagine sitting down Sunday, Sane crosses to Sterling in the first minute, and they score, and you think, just bring me the points.
God, they were so close to that goal as well in that Newcastle game. It was like millimetres from Sterling's foot. It would have been Sane to Sterling, I would have been bloody happy.
Yeah, we nearly had another Stane then, didn't we?
Sorry.
Another Stane.
Yeah.
I like Stane. What would Sterling be? Sterling, because you've lost the T. You gave it to Stane.
There you go. Sterling.
Sterling and Stane. Cool. Coined it. Right then, so is there anything else you want to add about City? Just my advice is coverage.
What do you think about Aguero?
Oh, well, I've got written down that he's putting up a little bit of form because he's got the goal and the assist in the last two. And funnily enough, it was his away form which was putting us off at the start of the season, wasn't it? Because he wasn't doing it in away games. And now he's got that goal and assist away from home in the last two. And we know what a beast he is at home. So,
and he has a great record against Newcastle. So it's surprising nobody was really talking about him.
Yeah.
Before that game. But yeah, I think he's possibly worth a shout. Even though he has played the last 90 minutes, so that's not a good sign for rotation. But it's Aguero. It's against Arsenal. That's a big game. I imagine he's going to play his strongest team for that. And I think Aguero is definitely better. Well, maybe not better, but in Pep's eyes, he's his first choice, isn't he?
Yeah. I suppose we should also raise a little word of caution, because as much as it's going to be great to have 2 or 3 City players for this game, the game after that, like we talked about, is Chelsea at home, and then they have a blank.
Yes.
So it's managing that as well, which is sort of why I toted the idea of, or raised the idea of a free hit this week. If you don't have any City now, I mean, sure people do, but if you don't have any City now, I think and you would have to take a -4 or -8 to get 2 in, you'd then be burdened with 3 of them in your squad, taking up a lot of cash when you get to game week 31. So it's a fine balance, isn't it? Because really you don't want to be putting players in for hits, watching them get points and then taking them out for hits, because you're just not going to make that much in the way of profit on points, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I think I may just keep it as it is, so I don't have to take hits or whatever, taking people out for that blank.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Should we talk about the Everton side of things then?
Yeah, should we mention the Yo-Yo Man?
The Yo-Yo Man.
The French villain. Digne, a bit annoying again. Obviously, mentioned it earlier, coming on, didn't start that game, which nobody really saw coming. But I assumed that was for just a rest ahead of the double game week where he played both, because he'd played all the minutes recently, all the FA Cups, everything else he's played. So yeah, I thought he was just going to be a rest, and then Baines goes and gets injured, has to come off. Deeney comes on, takes out the guy when he's last man, and gets a red professional foul. He's out for just the Wolves game, which is obviously what you really want the Everton players for in this double, which is the Wolves game, because hopefully they can get a few goals in that. But then he's going to be probably if you got him, I'd say either bench him or you play him, and he's definitely going to get a 0 in the first game because he's not going to play. But if you want to play him for that Man City game, he has to be on your 11, because he's not going to get auto subbed in. You can't do it midweek. So yeah, but he's only going to get that one game in the double, and it's against Man City at home, which is obviously terrifying for him. They're not going to keep a clean sheet in that for sure, and the likelihood of attacking points for Digne and that is pretty low as well. So yeah, my idea is to bench him, just because I don't think he's going to get into that City game, and it's disappointing, but I've got other things that I need to be doing than getting rid of him. So yeah, at the moment he's bench for me. What's your opinion on him?
Well, I'm honestly surprised you're thinking of benching him rather than getting rid of him.
It's basically to do with my transfers, which I guess we'll talk about later. But that is my reasoning, because it's to do with like funds and everything else.
Yeah,
That's why I'm benching him.
Well, from that point of view, it sort of makes sense. But from a longer term point of view, you've been toying with the idea of getting rid of him, and I just think that red and the fact that he's only going to play in one of these doubles against City. And then like you say, it's a fairly tricky game away against Watford, a team who are as well high.
He'll go before the blank. That's just saying that, but yeah, I've got other things to do than play or get rid of him this week, unless I take a hit, which doesn't sound great.
I suppose he's in line to. Oh no, Bednarak is in line to come in for Alonso if he's still benched. So,
I guess we'll talk about it now. Basically, it's going to be Alonso out for funds for someone like Doherty around that sort of area. And then I can possibly get Richarlison out the week after for Son. So it's Alonso out this week for the funds to be able to get Son in later.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Because if I take Dina out, no money's really going anywhere.
Yeah, you want to reinvest that in the squad really, than just leave it sitting in the bank, don't you? So what would you say for people who are keen to get rid of Dinya this week? Because I was having a look. I've got a few written
down. So Trent. If he's fit, obviously ideal replacement. They'll keep clean sheets when they're back to full strength, and they've still got decent fixtures.
And they need him back as well, don't they?
They do, yeah, absolutely. I think as soon as Matip's come in, they've conceded in both games. They need to get rid of Matip as soon as possible. And then obviously Henderson at back last night was obviously not ideal for them. Like, he nearly conceded a penalty, but Henderson got away with it, I suppose. But moral of the story, they drew 1-1, and it wasn't great for them. Lindelof is 4.9, scored his first goal for United. He's obviously risen recently, and he's gone up to 3.4% owned.
You're a big fan of Lindelof.
I always keep mentioning him, but they're still not keeping clean sheets. But he did get a 10-point haul in a game where they conceded 2 goals, so he's all right for bonus when they get like a 0-0 or a 1-0. He does okay there. So yeah, he's someone to look at, and if not, then Shaw, if you want to go that way. He's a bit slightly more attacking. And then there's obviously Duffy. We've mentioned him before with great fixtures. Yeah. If you're able to bench him in that 27 blank, then I think he's great, because you've said he's had loads of goals and loads of assists as well, which is top out of most defenders.
They fell to pieces a bit, didn't they? Brighton, and again the game against Fulham though. I was watching Mitrovic dominate him and dunk in the air in that game. That bit of a worry.
Which is a surprise, really, for those two. Or Doherty / Donny if you haven't got them like me. Which I'm thinking of doing with for Alonso instead, because if you're thinking of getting rid of Alonso, I think all these people that are replacements for Dinya are useful replacements too. And then there's Kolasinac, who's obviously got an assist, was very close to that haul with the clean sheet as well, with the Cardiff just getting that goal in the last few minutes. So yeah, that would have been annoying if he'd got that, but yeah, 5 million, 5.1% owned. Yeah, Arsenal clean sheets never clear, but very, very attacking, and their fixtures after the City game are very good still.
Yeah, Arsenal. I was having a look at Arsenal's fixture running actually when I was having a look at Trent options to get rid of. And after Kolasinac's game against City, and then they've got maybe 1 or 2 more. They have such a good run until the end of the season. So, like we've been saying for weeks, Kolasinac is getting in great positions, really far forward. He's making those chances for his teammates. It's just those clean sheets. And it showed that he was having, because he got fouled, didn't he, in the for the penalty, and that's how he got his assist. So it shows he's getting far forward. 2 players I wanted to pick up on who could be good team replacements are Pereira and Chilwell.
Yes,
because I thought they both played quite well for Leicester, and we know they've got a good record this season, especially Pereira in terms of getting goals and assists. And once Leicester's tough fixtures come to an end, which I believe is in a game week or two's time.
It's two games.
Yeah, 2 games. They've got Manchester United and Tottenham, and then I don't believe they play a top 6. Maybe they play 1 top 6 side between now and the end of the season, or maybe 2. I know it's very very few because they've just got lots out the way in a succession. So I think almost Pereira Chilwell, if you got them in, could be a set and forget until the end of the season. And it was only. Was it up to maybe New Year's Day that Pereira was 4th overall in defenders standings? It's just these tough games where they've not been keeping clean sheets, and obviously the goals dry up in those big games where he slipped back down. But I think either of those two could be a really, really good, almost differential pick until the end of the season.
Chilwell was very far forward in that game, which makes me think maybe him when they're both defence, Chilwell seems to be more further forward.
Yeah.
But obviously Pereira has that. I guess it's in lesser teams when they play against lesser teams. He goes further forward. So yeah, tough to pick between those two, I suppose. But you'd probably go Pereira for just because of the outposition. But 0.2 more expensive, I think he is.
Yeah.
So that's consideration. But my only reason I didn't mention it is because, well, especially for me, is because I don't have Doherty. And Doherty's like, I saw a heat map of his average position.
Yeah.
And he was like, just like a millimetre behind like Jimenez's average position. And he's a right back or whatever it is. So yeah, I think everybody in their dog as a bloody Wolves defender. I feel like I should probably get on Doherty, but maybe that's an oversight because he hasn't had many. I've been quite lucky because he hasn't got many returns recently. Yeah. So maybe I don't bother. Maybe I just go Pereira and I hope he does all right. Because I feel like they could do all right against Spurs. Maybe not against United, but they could do okay against Spurs.
Yeah, I think it's the good thing is about this defensive option, like we've just talked about, is there's tons, isn't there? There really is tons. There is tons of really good options. So I think don't be put off by one way or the other. I think it almost comes down to a player that you probably like watching. A player that you like watching almost, because at the end of the day, I think all these teams, or probably apart from Trent at Liverpool, are going to get a similar number of clean sheets between now and the end of the season. And really, you're watching all these wing backs for their goal and assist return. So if you've got a particular team or player you like watching, I was looking at the numbers of how they've all performed, and in terms of fixtures and points they've occurred so far this season, I think Pereira, Chilwell, Kolasinac, Doherty, I think they're all much of a sort of similar player really. Going back to Everton though, actually, I did want to mention for people who have Dean, but they still want to cover the Everton defence, maybe by getting this over the double, is Michael Keane, because he picked up 3 bonus points in the game against Huddersfield for the clean sheet, and I noticed he's a bit of a baseline bonus points king really. So he's got 14 bonus points this season, which is the joint 4th most for any defender in the game. And considering they haven't got a ton of clean sheets this season, when they do get a clean sheet, he is generally in and around the bonus point area. So at 4.9, he's a similar price to Dean. He's a little bit cheaper. And if you want to try and cover off Everton, admittedly their fixtures aren't exactly great and they have that blank. But if you're on the free hit, if you're on the wild card this week, I think he'd be a suitable replacement for him.
Yeah, like it. Good option.
I do think there's going to be goals in that Wolves game, though. Wolves are on a bit of a goal-scoring run at the moment, haven't they? I think they've scored over 2.5 goals in each of their last 3 Premier League games. So I think there's going to be goals in that Saturday. Is it Saturday? I think it's on Saturday. So
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Michael Keane's going to have to get his head to a few things. So I don't necessarily see clean sheets for them, but hey.
No, I can't see. I think if you had Digne in that time already and he didn't get a red card, then you'd be happy to own him. But I can't advise bringing in their defence really. But yeah, if you really want to, then yeah, Keane seems like the logical replacement. Yeah. Maybe even John Joe Kenny if you really fancy it. He'll be Digne's replacement, I assume, with Baines out as well, injured. But it's only be for one game because Digne will come back in because he's not injured anyway. So yeah, don't go John Joe Kenny. Forget him. Forget I mentioned it.
Okay. Richarlison is in your team still. He nearly went, didn't he, before Huddersfield for you? You were contemplating it big time to get Son, who did outscore him, but obviously now doesn't have a double. So like you were talking about a minute ago, the plan is to hold on to Richarlison for these 2. And then
I think so.
Son's going to come back in?
Yeah,
or Son come in, I think. Because you haven't had him, have you?
No, not at all. Yeah, I've missed him for that run before the Asian Cup, and I hopefully don't intend to miss him this time. So yeah, he should be in by 26, I think. Oh no, is that right? Yeah, that is. Yeah, he'll be in by 26.
Yep, that's right.
So, assuming Pogba isn't injured, because if he is injured out for a few weeks or something, then maybe I'll take that hit to just get Son in this weekend. Yeah.
No, he looked good. We'll talk about him a little bit more in detail on Spurs in a minute. Is there any other Everton players you want to speak about before we move on, just to wrap a few other things up?
I mean, Siggy is possibly an option, but he's not getting many returns at the moment, and I can't see him getting too many in these two either. I think Richarlison is probably the main man for their goals. Yeah. I wouldn't even say bring Richarlison in. I think if you're bringing any players in for this double, if you don't already have him, just bring in City players if you can. I wouldn't advise bringing Richarlison in, but Siggy possibly. I think where do I have it here? He's 7.4 million and 7.5% owned by, and he's last 5 games he's had 1 goal, 4 blanks, and they've had good fixtures. So he's definitely not on form. Maybe the double is a trap in that sense. If you're thinking about Siggy, I'd say avoid.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can get too wrapped up in those little double fixtures at the bottom of the player, and but no, I had a look at Sigurdsson as well to see if he was an option rather than Richarlison. But like you say, he's a little bit out of form at the moment, and he's had the fixtures. So I think it comes down to Everton just not being in very good form. I mean, that Huddersfield game was a real grind, wasn't it? They fought out that 1-0 win, and they needed it. So I have a feeling it's going to be. To be honest, I could see the City game against them being a bit like the Spurs game if City are really up for it. If they get an early goal, remember they capitulated, didn't they, before Christmas, lost 6-2.
Yep.
I think Everton have still got good chance to score in both these double game week fixtures because they've got a great record of scoring at home. But I just feel like they're so open as well. I think they've conceded at least 2. I think it's conceded 10 in their last 5 home games. So I think if City get one early and really put their foot down and go for it, there could be a big score. Which is why you don't want to be sitting down watching that game midweek with like 1 or no City players.
Yeah, I hope so. And like you said, they can close that gap because they've got that extra game, haven't they? So
real incentive for them to go for it. So, but they had incentive to go for it against Newcastle, and we thought we'd batter them. So you never know, do you, Kieran? In fantasy football, you never know. I tell you who else you don't know about. Eden Hazard. No one knows about him. I've got written down here, Eden Hazard is really pissing me off. So that's good analysis, isn't it? Because
I think everyone's thinking that. He owns him.
How many weeks ago did I bring him in now? 4 or 5 weeks ago, I swapped him for Sterling, and I think he's got 3-3-5-2-2. So it's been really, really tough to take. So I had a little look at his stat. I didn't watch the game against Bournemouth. I saw the highlights. I didn't see any of Hazard on the highlights, so that was a bad sign already. So I had a look at the stats. He had 3 shots.
The stats are all right, you know.
Yeah, but, I don't know. But what I saw was he had 3 shots and 2 of which were outside the box. So that's not a good sign. And he only had 6 penalty area touches, which is way down for Hazard. That's way down. I want double. I want nearly 10. I want maybe 12.
He created
penalties.
5 chances though.
Yeah, but
that's good.
Oh, who for? All the other wasters in that team. Higuain didn't have any shots on goal, did he? He was playing really deep.
Yeah, came off early as well.
Willian, I'm at my wit's end with Hazard. And also, to make matters worse, he dropped last night. I didn't transfer him out because Pogba might be injured. And I hate transferring out a player and then another expensive one is, another premium asset is injured. So he's causing me a lot of trouble at the moment. And also to transfer him out before Huddersfield. Do you think that's the right idea? Because that's what I'm on at the moment. And I'm sure lots of other people are on it at the moment.
I'd say no, personally. I would keep him for sure. But you're thinking about Hazard to Sterling, right?
Yeah, of course.
If you want to go all in on City, then yes, do it. But if not, then you got to be thinking Hazard's going to do well in that Huddersfield game. Like they've just lost 4-0 to Bournemouth. They have to bounce back. They've just gone out of the top 4 as well. Like by on goal difference to Arsenal. Like that's got to feel bad for them. And they know that they have to bounce back. And that's a guaranteed clean sheets. There's at least 1 extra point for Huddersfield, for Hazard. Sorry. It has to be goals in that.
Well, you'd think so. You'd think there had to be goals in the Bournemouth game. We talked about last week. He'd had 7 goals and 1 assist in 7 appearances against Bournemouth. They should have been really up for that game. It was Higuain's first start. It was the Chelsea first team, and then Sarri locked him in the dressing room, didn't he, for like an hour after the game? And he took like an hour to come out for his press conference. He must have been livid in there. I just feel like this whole thing where he said, I can't motivate the players, it had a bit of a rise, didn't it? A little bit.
But I don't see where that's coming from. When they've just brought in the man that they wanted to get. They got their guy.
Yeah.
And, Hazard had said, Higuain's the guy. Like, I've been waiting to play with someone like him since Costa. And then, they capitulate 4-0 to Bournemouth, which is like a day after or before last year where they lost 3-0 to Bournemouth, which is kind of ironic.
Was it in Watford they lost to last year?
No, it's Bournemouth as well.
Okay, they lost to Bournemouth as well, didn't they? Oh, yeah, at Stamford Bridge, though, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. Oh, I don't know. He's really irritating me. And it double irritating that people got rid of him last night. And I imagine I had a look at the transfers in. It's either mainly for Son or mainly for Sterling. But my reasoning for not getting rid of him is, of course, it's Huddersfield. My reasons for getting rid of him, he's bang out of form. Chelsea seem in disarray at the moment. I say bang out of form in the league because he scored in the League Cup game, didn't he, against Spurs? And then after this game against Huddersfield, he's got an away game against City. I wouldn't back him to get any returns in that one, and then they have a blank. So when I compare the fact, if I transfer him to Sterling, I know I've got potentially 2 home games against Arsenal and Chelsea and probably limited minutes in the Everton game. So I'm probably going to get three appearances out of him,
and then
and
maybe
Hazard's going to have 2.
You'll probably get the Sterling minutes in the Chelsea game as well, so you would get 3 games out of Sterling.
Well, yeah, again,
ish.
I want to get Son in as well.
Right.
So I don't. Yeah, I was figuring I might have to get rid of Sterling. But we'll talk more about the transfers because there's a lot going on in my team. As you can see, it's Christmas tree-like at the moment. I've got a lot of things I want to do to it, and we'll talk through them. But yeah, I think Hazard's gonna have to go. What about Alonso then? Because we got written down here, talk about Chelsea nonsense, because that's what their form's been like. And Alonso, is he gone as an FPL hero? He's the top defender. Oh, is he the second top defender now?
It's been about 3 years of a love affair with Alonso, wasn't it? Of just doing bits, most seasons. And I think I said to you, like, well, it takes a while for Sarri to actually drop someone. And yeah, Sarri doesn't rotate much. So you usually assume that if someone's dropped, they'll be out for the foreseeable future. But as soon as he drops him, they lose 4-0 to Bournemouth, right? So I don't know if that makes you think that, or it makes it think that Sarri is doing something wrong here. He's second guessing himself. And he brings Alonso straight back in for this Huddersfield game. I mean, it's a decided possibility, isn't it? Yeah. Obviously he's dropped so much in price, and you and me are the ones that have kept hold of him, thinking like, until he's actually dropped in a game, then he's not dropped. But finally he was, and we had Wan-Bissaka or whoever it was come in for us, which wasn't the worst, but
it was 1 point. I'll take anything I can get.
More than Alonso got, wasn't it? Yeah. So, but I don't know. Maybe he comes in, but maybe that's just wishful thinking again, that he's, after this 4-0 defeat, that he'll come back in. But as I said before, I think he needs to go for me just for funds for Son, and I think Son is obviously way more important than Alonso is going forward. So, I think my decision's probably made up for me.
Yeah, no, I think it's an exciting time because whilst it's disappointing to see Alonso leave, there's so much value in him, and also there's a couple of defenders around the Brighton and Southampton areas, I'm thinking especially, where you can get a defender for 4-5, maybe 4, and you can reinvest almost 2.5, 2.6 maybe, depends when you got Alonso, million in that midfield. So players like your fifth mid maybe are updatable. Maybe you can get another premium player in, so you can have more than 2. Maybe you can have, 3 in your team. So from one point of view, it's sad to see him go, but that means you can have another premium elsewhere. So it's quite exciting time, really. But
yeah, we should have done it a while ago.
Well, we say this, but I mean, it's I don't know if it's been a real.
We should have.
What would have been the best defender to get in? I don't know. Say when 6 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago.
Well, maybe. Can't say now, but yeah.
Double Liverpool in that time.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I just VVD. I mean, Alonso's still been ticking along, hasn't he? He's picked up clean sheets here and there. It's just his attacking output we've really missed.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to say he'd been consistent in terms that he played every game until this game week. But I've got so much on with my team at the moment. I think I'm going to leave him. I keep looking at my team. So I'm sorry, guys, for people listening on audio. I've got my team up on screen. I just keep looking at it and thinking what state that is. But yeah, Alonso might even stay in this week. I just hope he plays, because I got nothing on the bench.
I mean, if he does, then it's clean sheet, surely. And he's like we said last week, he should be bombing down the left, chucking in crosses to Higuain finally. But we were disappointed by seeing Emerson on that clean sheet. I mean, Emerson was fine, didn't do anything wrong, but is that what you want from someone, not to do anything wrong? Like, I don't know. You want a good performance, not just a body.
The Chelsea players are making me too angry, and it's so irritating they have a home game against the worst team in the league this game week, because otherwise they'd be on a ship straight out of town.
Yep.
Do ships go out of town? I suppose they do. Out of port, into the sea. Okay, should we talk about something a bit more happy, like young Mingson?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, because he came back. We weren't sure whether he was going to slot right in. You thought he would. I thought he'd be benched. So that's a win. He's nearly 200,000 new owners since last night, and his ownership is slowly going up. I think he's nearly on about 9 or 10% owned now. So he's now...
That's gone up quickly.
Yeah, it has shot up quite a bit, so I think people are making that hazard transfer. He's now got 104 points in his last 13 games, which is incredible. Incredible. So I think it's just about 8.1 or something, 7.9 points per game in that time. So captaincy material, and he's only blanks 3 times in 12.
Yep.
We're both desperate, aren't we, to get him in?
Yep.
I wish we had more
I was going to do it last week, like I said, like we talked about it. I was thinking about getting rid of Richarlison for him. It's just a straight swap and no hits. But obviously the double game week coming up while we're filming, obviously changed my idea, and I got Sane in. But yeah, I thought Son would come straight in because they needed him, and he played a pivotal role. He looked tired, like Spurs looked quite bad. But he got that goal. He got bonus. And he's only going to get better. The next two are at home. Mm-hmm. He hasn't got to travel anywhere. He's going to get enough rest. He's going to start the next few, that's for sure. Yeah. And they've got great fixtures. They got Newcastle. Obviously, that'll be tight, you'd think. But then after that, they got Leicester at home and then Burnley away. So 2 great fixtures again. And Son's prime for points in those. And I think he has to come in. Defo.
Yeah, I agree. I need to
and they're not blanking.
That's why I'm so tempted to play this free hit. And just get triple up on the City, get Son in, and then hopefully Trent will be better by then. Pogba will be better as well. And then I can sort my team out a little bit. Oh, so much thinking to do.
The problem with the free hit is that is such a small double game week. It's only City that you want to get of the triple sort of thing. Like Everton, you'd probably get Richarlison, and then it's just like it's kind of a bit of a waste. But yeah, well, fair enough. But
just
then
go all in on City.
Yeah, there are good fixtures for other teams, so like Liverpool. Yeah, up to you if you want to go for it.
I know. A lot of things. Well, just the state of my team's in at the moment, because we'll go on to the transfers a bit in a minute. Should we just quickly mention Llorente before we get into our transfer plans and just say, GG, well done, because slated a bit everywhere, wasn't he, really, last week? And I was maintaining that he was going to come good. He'd been playing well for Spurs. He got that goal in the League Cup game against Chelsea. Goal and an assist, 12 points. Mm-hmm. I thought he played well, and I think he's still a good option, isn't he? I think he's 5'6" still.
He missed a few sitters as well, so.
But he's getting
if he can put those away, then yeah.
I mean, this season as well has shown that Kane has been getting tons of chances at home, and not taking them. I think Llorente's sort of following in his footsteps.
I've heard, I don't know where from. I think it was just on Twitter, just rumours that Kane is accelerating his recovery, and he's closer to coming back than you'd think. So really? That's something to be aware of as well. But I think he's okay for the next 2 at least, I'd say.
All right, should we just talk about our captaincy plans then, transfers and clean sheets? Because shorter show tonight, guys, if you hadn't noticed, different format because it's our special double game week special. Sorry, yes.
So it's probably, obviously it says Salah at the moment on the preview, but I think it'll probably be Sane, because I think he'll get the most minutes in the double. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so hard to choose between either of them, really. Yeah. Because their stats are so similar, really. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because I think maybe Sterling gets rested in the Everton one in time for that Chelsea game afterwards. But I don't know. I think they'll play both of them, and I'd probably go Sane just because he's owned by a bit of coverage, maybe. Okay. What do you think?
I think if I played my free hit and I brought in any City player, I'd captain Aguero.
Yeah. So would I if I had him.
Second to that, I think I'm going to stick with... If I don't end up doing the Hazard move, I would obviously have to be Sane. But if I do, I am tempted to captain Sterling. I just feel like he's a he's got only a tiny bit more goal threat than Sane, despite how well Sane's been playing recently. But
yeah, I mean, both of these games, like, they're probably not going to sit back either, which will help City going forward, especially Sane and Sterling, who will be able to break with them on the flanks. So
I can just see this picture in my head of Sane getting in behind the Arsenal defence and squaring it across goal like we've seen so many times, and Sterling just arriving the back post ahead of whoever the standing left back is. It might even be Kolasinac or Monreal playing out of position, and Sterling just taking advantage of those two there. Because there's going to be tons of space behind Kolasinac when he goes forward.
I think you can't really go wrong with either of them, to be honest.
No, it's probably not going to be a huge difference, is it?
And I think a lot of people are even triple captain considering, because there doesn't seem to be a good place to use it elsewhere at the moment. Even I'm thinking about it, but I'm just not sure really on which one will get the more minutes of space. So I think I'll probably save it, but Sterling, Sane, one of those two will be my pick, and probably Salah Vice, I guess.
Yeah, Salah Vice. Well, I do think it's going to be a rout, that Arsenal game. I mean, even if the fixtures were as they were, I thought Salah played quite poorly the other night, and even if it was just Sane or Sterling against Arsenal got such a horrific away record against Big Six teams, and they haven't kept a clean sheet this season, and City are going to be looking to dominate in a big game. I might even consider captaining one of them in a single game week anyway, so the fact that it's a double just spruces it right up. Cool. So
shall we consider for anyone that isn't going, for any City players who they should captain? Salah, probably. West Ham away.
Yeah, I still think that's going to be a tricky game for them, despite West Ham.
They've conceded 5 in the last 2, so...
But I still thought Salah looked really... I thought he looked really quiet the other night.
He did, but people
Salah,
have bad games. So... And then if not Salah, then I think Son is the standout option otherwise.
Yeah, I think Son could be a really nice differential, especially if ownership doesn't get over 10%. But yeah, I would have thought most of the players playing will have a City player. Cool. So let's just recap our transfer plans very briefly, and then do you want to pick out a clean sheet as well?
For me, it's probably Alonso to someone like Doherty or Pereira / Chilwell / Trent. I need to find out from press conferences. In order to get funds for Richarlison to Son the next week. All for free, no hits. Unless I hear that Pogba is injured, then I may take a hit to get Pogba for Son, and then someone like maybe even keep Alonso at that point, and hope he plays, and have Benderak come in possibly. So yeah, that's my thoughts on transfers. Yeah,
no, it's interesting. To be honest, the longer I've thought about it, I think I'm just going to do Hazard to Sterling, and one transfer. And if Pogba is out, then I might make things a bit more drastic and get rid of Wilson. The issue is my bench is horrific at the moment. So Wilson is out, Alexander-Arnold is likely out, Højbjerg's got this head injury, and Success isn't playing. So I could play this week with 10, which is why I've been mooting the free hit, because it gives me another week for Trent to get back to full fitness. But like you say, it's not
sometimes when needs must, then
exactly.
then it can work out when needs must. Like if your team is in dire straits, then sometimes you just have to do it, and it'll probably be a good use of it, to be honest.
I mean, look, Alonso's of my team. I was counting out who I can actually rely on this game week. Can't rely on Alonso.
Yeah. Potentially
can't rely on Hazard because he's so out of form. Can't rely on Wilson, Arnold, Success, or Højbjerg. So that's 1, 2, 3.
Or Pogba.
Or Pogba potentially. That's six players.
Yeah.
So and also the fact that it's fallen nice in a double game week means I can triple up on City and get Aguero and do something different. And hey, look, I'm pretty sure I could pick a pretty strong 11 for a double game week. Anyway, tons to think about. Oh, sorry, let's do clean sheet. So my transfers are still going crazy, and it's Thursday. I've got to decide.
Yeah, mine are Chelsea clean sheet against Huddersfield.
Yeah,
and then Bournemouth, which was
they were away, weren't they, at Cardiff?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tasty one. All right, I think Burnley are going to get a clean sheet because I thought they looked quite solid against United until the last few minutes when they crumbled. They're playing Southampton at home, so that would be my pick. And then I think I'm also going to pick Tottenham, despite Newcastle scoring 2 goals against City. I think Spurs are going to bounce back with a clean sheet in that game, and they're going to start a little bit run. I think they're doing so well, aren't they, to be up in, was it 2 points behind City now in third? So yeah, really, really great season so far for them. Cool. All right, is there any final thoughts you want to add before we wrap wrap up?
No, I think that's good.
Cool. I think I should do that wrap up thing more often. We need more catchy catchphrases,
agree.
don't we? Cool. All right. Well, so thanks for joining us, guys. Wherever you're listening, obviously, if you're listening on one place, please know that we are also on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple. Where else are we, Kieran? Spotify. We're all over it, aren't we? And Twitter. Gosh, we're really diversifying. If you've got any questions about your Game Week 25 team, if you want to ask us about our advice on double play or players you want to bring in, then please leave a comment below on the video on YouTube or tweet us at FPL Cougars, and we'll try our best to answer your questions. But like you, we're muddling through a little bit, aren't we, this week? We're confused.
Just.
Game Week 24 has hurt our brains a little bit. Cool. All right. If you haven't subscribed as well to our YouTube, please do. We'd love that. Get notifications when we upload a new video. We're trying to do every week. Sometimes like this week, especially. We've done 2 videos. So, yeah, it'd be great to have you with us. So, cool. I think that's everything from me. So, until next week, it is goodbye.
Cheers and good luck.